This is part 3 of our video series describing football on 3. Please refer to part 1 for the intro and part 2 for a description of the define feature. So in part 3 we're going to dive into the games, and this will show you all the games that you have scheduled along with the final score if the game's already been played, win-loss statistics, and a record statistics. These are just, the record here is just for your regular games, not your exhibition games. And then you can select the game and play it or score it. You can review it after the game. You can select one or more games to analyze results. You can select one or more games to review player stats for those games, and then you can select games for deletion. So I typically will play a game in real time. So go ahead and take a game that hasn't started yet just to show an example. So you go ahead and select it and you go to play game. All right, and this is the screen you have, and basically while the game's going on, I'm mainly interested in who's in the game, the player stats, how many plays the players have, so I can keep track of my minimum number of plays. And then I'll put in what information I can about the play call, the net yardage. But in the heat of the game, you may not get a lot of information in, but you can at least track who's in. And then later you can go back when you're reviewing the game, and then you can fill in more details as you're watching the game film. If you want, you don't have to score a game live. You could just score it with your game film. And you may want to do that when you're just scouting other teams and other opponents to collect the statistics for those games that you could then analyze later. So when the game first comes up, you have your scoreboard at the top. You're going to go ahead and select the category for both teams. So I'm just going to jump right in here and say that we're on the DB team is on defense. My team is going to be on offense. I can set the ball initially where I want it by just dragging the ball. Before I drag the ball, I have to indicate who's on the right side of the field and who's on the left side of the field. So just tap the display here, and then you pick the team that's on the right side, and then that fills in the other team on the left side. So now I can set the ball wherever I'm starting at, just by dragging that ball along the screen. Okay, so I'm starting on offense. The first thing I'll do is go into my player status. And so if anybody's not in, somebody's didn't make it to the game or injured, you can denote, that they're out. The game hasn't started yet, so all the play counts are 0. And then you tap the Who's In button, and then you can pick your offensive depth charts. So you got your standard offensive depth charts, and then if you've created any custom depth charts, this is just a dummy example that I had created as talked about in part 2 of the video series. But then that brings up your depth charts that you've already defined. So now you can quickly select, for example, if your first string are in, it highlights if somebody's out of the play or if somebody's not in the game, so you can select another player for that position. You can indicate whether or not this play should count towards min play time or not by just toggling this. So in some leagues, for example, special teams might not count towards minimum play time. All right, so now that you know who's in, you select your play. So again, this is your predefined play calls that you've defined, again, as talked about in part 2 of the video series. And so you can define your play calls however you want. And now that you've got them set up, you can go ahead and quickly tap what this particular play is. Okay, and then the play occurs, and what you do is drag the ball down here along the field, and that shows your net yardage of the play up here in this box. And then you can also show tap the play result to get a list of what type of play this was. So if this was a run play, then it comes up with other examples or other fields that you can tap. Who ran the ball. So that keeps track of player statistics. And then if you also want to say, who on the other team tackled, you might enter in a jersey number to kind of keep tabs of their statistics as well. And then once you got it the way you like it, you go ahead and you record the play. So that shows you that you've had a play count. You can go back to player status, and you can see now that some of the players' their counts have gone up. So you can kind of sort by tapping the column, and you can keep tabs, of who you need to get in the game if you need to meet minimum play rules. So basically, that's what you do in a nutshell. You step through that for all the plays, and then when you're done, the app will keep track, of what down and how many yards to go, but you can always override those using the steppers. You keep track of timeouts, and when you're done with the game, you can hit finalize, or if you would just want to go back and you score it later, it'll just indicate in the status that it started. So if you want to go back after the fact and review a play, you just select the play and review game. And now it's going to show you for the first play, it was 1st and 10, ball at the 30. It shows you, what the play call was. Down here is the result of the play. It was a run. It got 5 yards. So after the fact, you might want to come in here and indicate who ran the ball, so you can keep track of stats if you want. And then you can use the panel down here to go ahead and step through all the different plays. And you can also check your player status for the whole game, right? So if somebody's questioning how many plays did a certain player have, you have that information. Okay, if you want to delete a play, you can do that. Or if you want to, again, modify a play, adding information after the fact, you can go and do that and then hit the modify play button. Okay, so that's how you basically score a game and review it. And then after the fact, if you want to analyze plays, you can analyze a game at a time, or you can select multiple games to analyze and hit the analyze game. And now it's going to show you, for all those games you had selected, what the results were. So you can pick the team up front. So I'm going to go ahead and see how my team did, say, on offense. Offense is already, and then I'll go ahead and hit the sort. And this basically tells me is that for all those games I selected, my average yards was 3 yards per play. And this shows you all the plays that were called, what the result of the play was, how many yards, penalty information, fumble information, score information. And then I can sort by tapping the column. So if I want to see the worst plays or the best plays, I can sort that way. Also, I can tap the detail tab, and that brings up additional details about this particular play. So it tells me it was 4th down with 25 yards to go, the players that were in the play that was called. And now I can do multiple sort types of things. For example, if I want to see every play that had an 18 sweep as a part of the play call, I can go ahead and select that. In this case, I just want to know that the play call contained 18 sweep. If I want it to be an exact, in other words, it had to be an 18 sweep call, then I can say exact match. But I just want to see, what plays were 18 sweeps, and then I can sort. And now this is showing me all the different plays that had 18 sweep in it and what their results were. So it tells me that there was 10 plays where I had an 18 sweep involved in the call. And there's other types of, you can end that particular detail sort and go ahead and look at another details of another play. I might want to sort on, every play where there was less than or equal to, 10 yards to go. Or maybe I want to say greater than or equal to 10 yards to go. And I only want to sort if it was a run play, and I only want to sort if JT was in the play and at center, or maybe I don't care about if he was at center or not, I just want to know that he was in the play. So there's all kinds of ways that you can sort on this. And these are examples of those results. So again, lots of capabilities there in the analysis. Same with player statistics. You can select one or more games and then have a look at player stats for those selected games. So you tap that and it indicates the various stats you can take a look at. If I want to look at run stats, for example, it shows me the runners, how many runs they had, their total yards, average yard, longest number of touchdowns. So lots of good features here. I know I'm talking fast. There's a lot to look at, but it's a very powerful feature. If you have any questions on that, you can go to the front screen, the About. There's our email address. You can email us anytime with any questions or issues, and we'll be happy to walk you through that. So thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoy the app.